you so much for coming to this event. But I would probably begin to ask you is, what are the trends that you see that are upcoming and that are kind of relevant in today's landscape, which pertain to deep tech? So if you could put some light on that.
I think deep tech is a very, very interesting topic. I think if you really look at these multitudes of technologies, obviously the buzzword today is all around AI. But then it's a conglomeration of multiple technologies, which is basically impacting every industry. Right? So you pick up and choose what is it that you want. Generative AI is one part of it, which is applicable to every industry. But if you go deeper into it, there are other deep tech technologies like IoT, cybersecurity, AI, ML, right? Web3, and so many other technologies which basically holistically touch every industry that is there. So there is a lot of transformation happening across every industry based deep tech. But important is to basically ensure that you identify the right use case and pick up the right technology to basically help you solve some of those use cases.
Thanks, Nidhi, for that. And since you touched upon the whole fact of the security aspect and all of those things. So how much of a innovation-driven culture do you see happening in organizations, and how can that be enhanced? And at an organization level, somebody take up those learnings from what they have gone through and then probably relate to what could be a better solution that they can adapt.
When you really talk about size, if you're asking specifically about security, how is it? Anything that you do, I think there are a lot of, this is all now becoming an interconnected world, right? You're moving more because of all these technologies that are there. There's a lot of telemetry that is coming in through these multitudes of technology that is getting deployed across the enterprise, or both social enterprise or commercial enterprise, or even government for that sake, right? So, extremely important that these technologies, while it collects a lot of this data, these are all highly secured, right? Whether it is, of course, you use technologies like encryption, data at rest, data in motion, a lot of those technologies would come in. But your entire element of how is it that you govern this data, which is getting accumulated and used ethically, is where I think a lot of organizations have to really focus on, right? So I think that's where I see a huge amount of opportunity. When you really talk about data, especially about human beings or people, obviously there are other things that come in around privacy, because today, in the name of hyper-personalization, there's a positive side as well as the flip side. Obviously, the positive side is being very, very hyper-personalized in terms of what is relevant to the individual that you're trying to sell, cross-sell, upsell, whatever it is. But at the same time, on the other extreme, you have the situation of how much is fine. How much are you really looking at from a perspective of intruding into the privacy of that individual? I think those are something that we really need to look at. There are obviously laws today that are coming in. GDPR is there in Europe. There have been always a privacy acts in the US. We now also have the DTIA, which has been passed in India. So really looking at some of these things are going to be extremely important as we really look at adopting some of these new technologies in the most secure way. So I think a lot of these things are still evolving. Early stages yet. I don't think we have very formal regulations still coming in. We also see a lot of misuse of technology. I think recently we have seen all these issues of deep fakes being, adopted, or especially for some of the celebrities and other things. So I think these are where I think one is extremely important. One is security is one element of it, but much larger, I would say, is around the entire thing of ethics, which has to be there, and the governance around this entire ethics that is there, so that as I was also tell that again, ethics is also dependent on which is the stakeholder which is really looking at it. One obviously is around whether it is the enterprise or whether it is the government or a non-profit organization. The business causes are different, so it has to be contextual to the business context that you actually build in a lot of these solutions.
Similarly, I think the whole interaction around ethics and governance is something that's never ending, because that's like this entire huge topic or Pandora's box when it opens, right? Having said that, thank you so much for your inputs, and I think I have to ask you this question: is today's event that has happened with network science, what is this one thing that you think is exciting or probably excites you from the entire plethora of options that they have shown us?
I think two. I will not say one thing, maybe two things.
Sure.
Right. One obviously is the good exchange of insights and experiences. Obviously, that's where you learn, because everything you cannot learn it on your own. So you need to learn from the ecosystem of participants that are there. And the good part is, you're actually talking to a diverse set of participants, not just pure technology guys, which happens in a typical technology event, but more from a business perspective, because end of the day, technology is still an enabler to drive business outcomes. The second is there's a lot of focus on also looking at practical implementation of those things. It's just not about theoretically talking about the art of the possible or the dark side, if you want to put it, but also about looking at some of these innovative startups, showcasing some of these things in action. So the balance of, I would say, practical aspects plus some sort of exchange of ideas and thoughts is what I think is making this event very, very interesting and insightful.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot.